Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Fine, I'll Watch It. I'm Smoking Phat J.
I am Matt Christy. And we're all on the same page today, James, because we can't see anybody.
We can't see nothing today, yes.
At least you can hear everybody.
But we can hear. Everybody can hear.
I heard James last week.
Yeah, we heard James last week. That was what I'm important.
The viewer may not have heard James, but we heard James in our heads. Yeah. Hey,
it's
you
like
almost
they heard you.
You almost
like they heard you, and they were like,
this week.
James is going to be pissed.
Let's just stop
it. So we are going to be talking about The Last of Us. Was it episode 5?
Episode 5.
Episode 5. The finale of Andor,
The Rogue One prequel.
As well as trailers ahoy, because we got all the trailers this week. So we'll be talking about that Peacemaker trailer. We'll be talking about the Superman trailer, and we will be talking about the Ironheart trailer.
And we'll be calling Warner Bros. Out in their shit for not knowing how to name their own fucking app. Probably.
It's fine. It's fine.
We said we wouldn't release Batgirl on Max. We're now HBO Max again.
They made James Gunn say it was the best thing ever, or they weren't going to give him DC.
That was a lot of money that was paid to a lot of people to say that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Also, somewhere up there is a like and subscribe button.
That's right. Like, subscribe.
I don't know what I pointed
ring
at.
that bell. All those things. So, Last of Us.
Yep.
Episode 5.
Episode 5 of the video game, The Last of Us Season 2.
The Last of Us. Yes.
Because this continues to be a video game.
Very much.
The most video game thing that ever video gamed. But... They're young adults, but yeah. Ellie's going out to kill people. That's the only motivation that we have this season. Ellie's going out to kill people. That's the only motivation that we have this season. Yeah. It's It's funny because we were, before the show started, talking about Nicolas Cage, and all I thought of when what's his name showed up and saved them is that scene from Adaptation, where Brian Cox talks about, "God help you if you have a Deus Ex Machina." Yep. Yeah, no, Jared ran off to try to see if you're actually talking on air, because we don't think you are, James. I'm just sitting here by myself listening to a voice in my head, pretending like...
Yeah, I don't think that anybody can hear him right now. We're working on that.
So this is wonderful.
So this might be great.
It is. I am. Oh, it is right now, because I'm the only one on camera. Jared isn't even here with me right now. So that's episode 5. Yeah, we got that. We got to meet the Scars a little more. They're the Amish killer Amish people, according to Dina. This episode was all over the place, which is fun. Well, what's funny, because you didn't have to do it for very long if you actually go back and watch it. She goes up, she gets the guitar, sits down, gets not even a full line into it, and it's like, nope, I'm done. and then puts it back, and then the show moves on to the show moves on to the absolutely horrible plan of, oh, these people aren't guarding this building. Let's just go through this building that we know is the stupidest idea ever. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, it'll be interesting for next week, because I don't know if you watched Beyond the Show, because they show a trailer for next week's episode after each episode right now. Next week is like an entire story with Joel. After each episode. See, everything that was missing between season 1 and season 2. Everything that was missing between season 1 and season 2. Well, no. No.
Yeah, I know.
I think part of the problem. I think part of the problem for season 2 is the fact that you go from season 1, where she has some doubts about him, to season 2, where she, like, everything they show of him is she absolutely hates him, but you have no context with that. Then he gets killed, and then he gets killed in front of her. But you have no context with that. Then he gets killed in front of her. I get that, but we all know what this big secret is, and it seems like she knows at the beginning of this season, but like there seems to be no context, and then you get to the end of this episode where she's told that he killed everybody, when the doctor who was going to use her to save everybody was there, and she's like, "Yeah, I know. I don't give a fuck." When the doctor who was going to use her to save everybody. Yep. And said, "Yeah, I know. I don't give a fuck." So. Yep. Yeah, but oh, I know. But at least for that setup, though, that justifies why Joel's going to be in the next episode, because now you're going to get the rest of that, and to prove whether or not she really does know, or as you just said, she just said that I don't care because I'm going to kill you anyway. It didn't matter what was said to her and whether or not she truly believes it or truly knows it. So, but I brought that question up back after episode 2. Like, does she know? Do we that's part of the story where she's just never going to find out? She's going to go kill these people. So now we get that part of the story, I guess. But
what I've said watching this season 2 or 3 times out loud while I'm watching the season. Living well is the best revenge. Yes. Living well.
Yeah.
In the zombie apocalypse, where everybody is apparently going to die in 6 months, maybe going back to your libertarian heaven and having your postmodern child in a very wonderful progressive environment. Like that's your happy ending. Go get that.
Hi, Jared. Welcome back.
Hi.
Hey.
We can hear you now.
I'm not talking to myself anymore. Damn it.
It is still good.
I'm not talking to myself anymore. Damn it. Talk, James. We're live, but talk anyway.
Here talking about The Last of Us Season 2, which if I was to compare it to The Walking Dead Season 2, The Last of Us Season 2 is doing really good.
Hey, stuff's happening. They're not in one place, so there you go.
And that was the thing.
It's good.
Even what?
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Even when, like, this episode was the first episode in Last of Us history that I fast forward.
Yeah.
That I went to the ballroom. I was like, if this motherfucker grabs a guitar, I'm hitting the fast forward button. And then they did. And I was like, goodbye. Having said that, an amazing thing is introduced in this show that completely changes the dynamic for surviving in the zombie apocalypse, and it's presented in the most video game fashion.
Mm-hmm.
It's done in the most video game fashion ever, where it's almost spoon feeding video game into you. Like, no, we'll have the zombies with their mouths open with the spores flying out. Like you just entered the fucking ice level on Legend of Zelda. Yeah, bitch, how do you like that? So, like, I almost want to give it more points because of how many times they've just done, like, an obvious video game shot in this show. And it's like, if you do it right, you can't be mad at it.
So here's the thing about that whole spore thing was actually in the first game. It was a mechanic from the first game that they chose to keep out of the first season.
There was a mechanic throughout. Yeah, it was just a mechanic that you had to deal with throughout. It was one of the things that they had left out. And it's interesting that it was the way I like the way that they introduced it into this. That it's a maturing of this this outbreak. You know what I mean? Also takes place in the place where it all began. You know.
And here's I guess the biggest problem with this season, in that it's treated like a video game so much, is the first scene of this episode was like comparatively like some of the best first scenes of the first season, where they introduced this concept in conversation without showing you, but you understood the gravity of how terrible it is.
Yeah.
But everything else they show in the episode is just this video gamey type thing, which I'm not hating the video gamey type stuff. It's just very much there. But it's so much of a contrast to that scene and everything from the first season and how that was done.
It makes me laugh sometimes, like how much it's been, like the subway cars with zombies being on one side. And we played that level in Resident Evil 2 together. You know, it's like there's been so many different times this just became the video game. And I know I'm saying Resident Evil 2, but it's just like those moments in video games that they've done so well in this. And I don't know, the relationship with Ellie and this, what's the other gal's name? And
Dina.
what is the person she's...
Dina.
Dina.
Yeah, Dina.
They're both good actors, but like the mixture in between, we need to have them have soft moments together with the highest stakes. How dare you let me lose days and weeks to kill this motherfucker has not evened out at all. It's just a fucking a goulash mess. Mm-hmm. Goddamn gumbo of fucking writing slop.
I did like that. I liked her like realization though of like, what the fuck am I doing here? You're you know what I mean? You're pregnant. We shouldn't be doing this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you should go back. But I also liked her story about who she killed first. Like, no, this is why I'm fucking doing it. And it made me like go, oh, okay. You know what I mean? Like, they gave me those reasons that I was complaining a little bit about last week. I did audibly ugh when she got ready to play that guitar, but
you missed the story of James talking about how he fast forwarded.
But the moment that she sings that first line and gets choked up and puts it down, though, like, that was a moment for me, though. Like, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you know. Like, I've been there before where I've been listening to a song and I'm like, you know, okay, this is not the mindset that I need to be in. You know what I mean? And, you know, you move on. So I liked that. I liked it.
So the airborne spores concept is a fun one.
Yeah.
If it was in the game, again, I've never played the game. So for me, it was like, oh, this adds a whole new cool element. And this episode did have, like, of this season, one of our outside episode 1 or 2 was it with fucking Helm's Deep. We got some really crazy, scary, crazy zombie fight where the zombies went kind of Day of the Dead, where they were like, "Hey, we got some new tricks to catch humans."
Yep. And we also got some scary woods scenes with your culty people too, you know what I mean? Watching them do their crazy shit.
Oh, that's trying too hard. Like, that just made me roll my eyes. That was like, cutting out the guts and stuff. Like, I would be too busy making fun of that. Like, it's trying so hard to, like, look at me. Like, come on, guys. Knock it off.
That's fine. But I also laughed at part of that scene, too. When they all stopped looking for Ellie and turned away, it's like, oh, the video games where the lights are now gone, you can move ahead with your character. Yeah, you don't have to hide
behind that tree long enough. They don't. Must have been the wind.
Yes.
There's so many times where it's just so video gamey. Like, it's like, oh, they've reached the save point. Thank God. They got us for the next. Yeah.
Auto save showed up was flashing on the screen when they started walking away.
Yeah, when they walked into the building. And it was like I was looking at their plan. I was like, motherfucker, Solid Snake wouldn't enter this shit. Fuck you guys. Like, you don't know what's going on. You fucking teenagers. I shook my stick at the screen, my cane. I shook my cane at the screen. So.
You shook your NES controller at the screen?
Yeah, that's right.
Just waiting for the next time Bina comes back to say the line, I used to be a soldier like you.
I used to be a soldier like you.
And I took an arrow to the knee. Video games, you've made the world more wonderful for us. Jared, you missed out of the conversation. Anything you want to say?
I mean... Those were the few things that I had to say. I really did like this episode. I thought there was, you know, again, just like James says, like, there are those soft moments, just like in the last episode, that feel a little bit forced. But other than that, like, solid episode. You know what I mean? They paced it pretty well otherwise.
Yeah.
And then like I said, I liked the introduction back for the spores. You know what I mean? I think that'll do it. I mean, it was a badass scene, her chasing her down. You know what I mean? Getting her and being like,
it was spoon feeding without spoon feeding. Like as soon as you walked in, you saw that zombie in the wall, fucking aliens moment. Her mouths are open and spores are just flying out. You're like, okay, the zombies have evolved. Like we're now in whatever's going to be the next step, which got exciting. And so that other motherfucker was dead, and Ellie just does not give a shit.
no. And you see the kid too. You see that the lady's kid that was talking about at the very beginning.
Yeah. That lady's son.
Yeah.
Yep.
And yeah, just that whole moment of like, where she's like, I got you, bitch. You killed us both. But she's just like,
Yeah.
no, I'm the one. Yep. That was me. And just her whole like, I already know what Joel did, and I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
Like I don't care. There's some
just like
big moments.
Plant Zombie Jesus. Had the real Jesus taken out a guitar and tried to sing me a song from the 80s, I probably would have booed him too.
What song do you think it would have been?
Well, let me tell you a story
Kumbaya.
about
Would've
this
been
guy
Kumbaya.
in the book called the Bible.
Hallelujah.
Go on.
Come on, crazy ideas. He'd probably sing fucking what's the Bryan Adams song from the Robin Hood movie?
Oh, everything I do,
I do
it
for
for
you.
For you, like we know you won't shut the fuck up about it, Jesus. Thanks.
I feel like Jesus doesn't have a guitar. He just does the.
Oh no, he has a guitar.
He's gonna
he
sing
just
Father
you don't
Abraham.
see that he has a guitar until he whips it out.
That's right.
Then guitar.
He's all, I made this out of the wood. Guess where I got the wood?
My own fucking cross.
Here we go.
Yeah, let me sing this song I wrote, Old Rugged Cross, exactly.
So I'm just kidding. I forgive y'all. I forgive y'all.
My dad told me to.
All right. Anything else we want to talk about this episode, or shall we rate it?
I think we should rate it now.
All
How
right.
many more episodes are left in this season?
There's 5 left, but there's also supposed to be a 3rd season. So it's this weird thing right now. Is like I don't know what endpoint they're going for this season because it seems like.
Like if you told me there was one more episode, I'd be like, yeah, because it moves that fast.
That
Which is one of the saving graces about this show. Is like she's already in the building. She's already killed a couple of the bad guys, right?
Yeah.
Like she's already. It technically it's moving faster than Kill Bill, and I wouldn't say there's very little fat on the Kill Bill revenge story. You know, it's like so that's a good thing to say that about it. Is that there's not a lot of fat. It's not weighed down by anything.
But for 5 episodes left, we're going to go for that. We're going to slow it way down and tell you this backstory episode next week. So.
Probably.
Shit, I'm for it. Like if it's good, I'm for it. I would have held off on Joel more. I would have let Ellie grow a little bit, and if Joel's the next episode, that's fine because he's great. He's a pretty decent actor, so it's nice to see that old Mr. Fantastic Mandalorian fellow.
There he is. Yeah, exactly. We get to see his face,
Yeah.
so it's nice.
Although the end of this episode made me joke. Oh, is this a dream?
Yeah, it's all just.
The way this episode ended. Oh, it's just a dream all along. Nothing bad happened to anybody.
Yeah, Joel's still here. We're good. We're good. Okay, so let's rate this thing. Are we out of 5 or 4 on
This
this?
is out of 5.
This is out of 5. All right.
I'll go first this time.
Okay.
I'm giving this. Let's give it 3.5. Like I said, I don't have an overall problem with this season. It's just that the pacing is weird. It wants to be 2 things at the same time. And those 2 things are so different from each other that they don't work as much as the creators think they do. And it's like the tones just shift back and forth all the time, way too much, even for it being a video game heavy show. So I don't hate it. It's just I don't know. Compared to the first season, there's just a lot off about this one.
I feel the exact same way. Like, I'm gonna give it a 3 for this episode, and it's I love season 1 and season 2. The biggest benefit I can say for it is it moves at such a fast pace.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so much has happened. What are we? This is the 4th episode or
Fifth
5th episode?
Fifth episode.
Okay, the lead has died.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a completely different city. The zombies have changed how they kill people. The people that killed the lead, 2 of them are fucking gone. Like, it moves at such a fast pace. It's nice. It's very nice in the modern.
We've had like 3 or 4 good zombie,
Yeah.
you know.
Crazy. Like, I keep thinking about Stranger Things, where I got to watch a whole fucking episode about pineapple being on pizza before I wipe my balls across my TV screen. Where I'm like, where it's like a lot of TV shows right now are padding the fuck to keep the viewers watching. And the problem is we're getting Kenobi'd with this shit, which is like I can only watch fucking Ewan McGregor, who I like that motherfucker. I can only watch him stare at meat for so long before I'm like, I think you fucked us a little on this series, didn't you? You fucked us a little on this. So I haven't been able to say that, but yeah, the motivations for the characters are all over the fucking place. This is it's a gumbo, it's a goulash, it's a goddamn stew of a mess. But the characters acknowledge that it's a stew of a mess, so I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's a tough one to.
Fair.
Jared?
I will give it. I'll give it a 4. I enjoyed this episode as much as I'm sorry.
Great moments.
There's
Yeah.
great moments in this episode. Yeah.
Great moments. I think that it was just like you said, paced well. I'm enjoying this season. Not quite as much as the last season, but I can't say that there's not. I'm not thoroughly, entertained throughout the whole thing. You know what I mean? I'm not, other than that one moment that ended up paying off, in my opinion. I thought it was a great episode, so I'm going to give it a 4.
The series has definitely picked up from episode 1.
Yes.
Where episode 1 just made it seem like, uh-oh.
Yeah, episode 1
we got lucky in the first season. Now we got.
Episode 1 did have me a little worried, and then after episode 1, it's been paced very well. You say there's 5 episodes left. Other than, I don't know about the 3rd season or what they're planning on doing for the 3rd season, but if they're going to wrap up this storyline,
That's the thing. I don't know. I think that's why this is the 3rd season. They're planning on not wrapping up the storyline for this season.
So it would be a big break check.
Yeah.
And that's not a good thing. So hopefully,
I don't know.
Hopefully they have something else planned.
We'll see
for season 3.
We shall see. I'd ask for predictions, but like I said, next week's a flashback.
Yeah, next week we're going to talk to Joel for
it's
a
whatever.
little bit.
So
that's pretty much what we're going to do.
all right, moving right along to that show that James totally knew was still on with 3 more episodes.
I have no idea. I go to Disney Plus like once every other day too, and people have been talking about it online. This is how sick I am, man. I was like, "What are you talking about, Andor? That shit ended a week ago." In my defense, this is the problem with like prequels to prequels. I was like, "Yep, that's a perfectly good ending spot. He got the robot right, and it's like we don't need to see them again now till Rogue One, I guess." I literally, I'm not being shitty here. I thought that was the ending.
Nope. Always going to be 4 weeks. Always going to be 12 episodes.
Yay!
James, we'll let you go first.
Yeah, go for it, James. Let's hear it.
Okay, I watched the 3 episodes today. Each episode, I skipped the first 5 minutes because that's how I felt. Having said that, in these final 3 episodes, we go over like 2 kind of like important characters to the story, kind of 3.
Really quickly, I'll interrupt you. You said you skipped the first 5 minutes of episode 10. Where did you start watching it from?
Which one's episode 10? Is that 2 Guys on a Bench?
That was Andor without Andor.
That was that.
Two guys on a bench, yes.
That one I watched. That one is probably story and writing wise. That's probably the strongest episode.
No, I'm saying if you skipped it, where did you start watching it from?
Two fucking guys on a bench.
Okay.
Okay. Rip off the conversation. I don't know what to tell you.
I just want to make sure you got that conversation, because if you missed that, then you missed everything.
Of the last 3 episodes, it's like one of the best. And actually, fucking Blondie McFascist story arc is like is really good.
Yes.
There's a lot of. I still feel like we got Kenobi'd with this, where it's like, dude, I can take 2 hours out of this, and we have this badass 2-hour story. And I do not feel. How many episodes was this? Was this 9?
12
total.
Okay, and each one's like 30 to 40 minutes. I know
Nope.
they say 50 when you play it.
Oh yeah.
They're never 50.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
They're never 50 because there's 8 million different. We would like to thank China text scrolls about everything. Oh, good Lord. And so it's like, it's never that long. Same thing with Last of Us. It says like 50 minutes, but the episode's over at like 30 minutes.
Yeah, well, there's more going on afterwards of Last of Us. You have credits, you have preview, and you have the talk back behind the scenes thing. So.
How many hours do you think we got with this season 2 of Andor? Before we go any further, because you guys done the shit out of this, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you got about. I'd say there's about 2 hours per week.
Yeah.
Times, so you got about 8 hours.
Okay.
8 to 9.
So we got about 8 hours. I'm a hater, and I know people online. I follow different content creators, and everybody likes this show.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are not alone in your love for this show.
Mm-hmm. We know that.
3 episodes, there's like an hour that is fucking solid. That is really solid. It is good storytelling. It is good character development. It is interesting. Every time we got to a scene of, what are they building? I wanted to break my television and throw it into the ocean. So the big reveal that the Death Star is coming is a little undercut by 50 years of Star Wars.
Yes.
I just would like to say that now, moving forward. All right, so I'm going to be the hater out of the group, but I still got to say, the last 3 episodes, there's an hour here that it didn't knock my socks off, but I was like, it's pretty fucking good. It's pretty good.
I will agree with you that the Death Star and the convincing them of the Death Star, like, I already know what's going to happen, so it was hanging their hat on that quite a bit was not very satisfying.
But it was like, dude, just pull that Band-Aid and get off with it. Like, had they done that, I thought the conversation scene was going to be that. Like, I did skip ahead 5 minutes on each one of these fucking episodes because I was like, nope, I ain't got that. My life is too important, and I'm worthless like everybody else. But I'm not watching the first 5 minutes of every Andor episode. But
what did you do with that 15 minutes? Did you go back and watch any of them Clone War episodes?
Rebels episodes?
Rebels
I
episodes?
rubbed my ass on a carpet just like a dog. It was amazing. It was a wonderful time. I had so I had a cigarette. No, come on.
Also, you're a liar because first 5 minutes of episode 12 had K2SO using that supervisor guy as a meat shield to absorb blasters.
Yeah, and that was great.
Yeah, there was some good stuff in these last 3 episodes.
Look,
yeah,
I really enjoyed these last 3 episodes other than them hanging their hat on that. There was so much in these 3 episodes. The Lucian story and getting the backstory of Clea, is that her name or whatever? Clea. Like, I enjoyed that. You know, I think we talked about this last week or maybe a couple weeks ago that, you know, I give the least amount of shit about Andor in this. You know, there's all these other characters and what they could be in this universe or where their story could end.
he's our glue. Like, I'm okay with it. Like, what's funny, he's a better Dash Rendar than we've ever gotten.
Yeah.
He is Dash Rendar. Like, he is just kind of cool, but keeps to himself, does what's right, just like any sort of, standard hero journey protagonist we would want. And every now and again, that actor fucking knocks it out of the park. So yeah, he's a little vanilla, but he's the right kind of vanilla for Star Wars. And this isn't a show that doesn't know what the fuck Star Wars is, might I add. But it's, yeah. We're talking ice cream. This shit is fucking Laffy Taffy, which is fine. It's just Laffy Taffy is still pretty good, but it is not ice cream. Yeah.
It basically makes the Force Healer scene where you first are introduced to that Force Healer character kind of a meta commentary for what the series is. That Andor is a messenger, and that kind of what he has been the entire 2 seasons. He's been a messenger delivering you this information via being there, so you can see this information, but he himself, while having an important role to play, is not the primary person.
Right. There's another major thing that bothered me all through these last 3 episodes, but I want to say one moment that is so satisfying. Him as the messenger, but constantly doing what is right. And we followed the female fascist who did everything right for fascism and still ended up because they have to keep the image of being strong in a jail cell. Yeah. And I love that final episode of cutting back and forth of, sorry, spoilers. I'm drunk and we do spoilers on this show because we're reviewing shows. Please forgive us. But like her
spoilers, there's a Death Star.
Where it's just kind of like they did some really good shit every now and again. I don't know if
Kyber, whatever from Game of Thrones, dude, blasting himself too. That was great.
Partagas killing himself instead of being suffering the same fate.
Making the stormtroopers wait, like yeah, he's not dead yet.
No.
It works. Give it an hour.
No. It's like no. Let him have his dignity of death.
Yeah, let him do it. Like it's either fascism ends that way. It's like you're either. I'm sorry. Adolf Hitler, his wife, and Goebbels did not die of old age. No fascist leader died. Jones, please look up Jonestown.
You're right.
Like no fascism ends with them dying of old age. Yeah, your best luck is boys from Brazil. That's the best case scenario. You take your DNA and they'll make some fucking weird clones of them.
There you go. I liked how that was mirrored with Lucian at the beginning too. Where he, tries to take his own life, but for very different reasons. You know what I mean? He's trying to protect something. You know what I mean? Where the other guy was giving up. Yeah. And then watching Clea or whatever go through, be a badass, and helping him to finish it off,
and killed everybody. Like I think that would have been a stronger message, but it was fine how it was executed. It also felt like more real, felt more grounded for the character. Like, yeah, that character, the way you set him up, probably would kill himself with his own artifact, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that was always going to be his exit plan because he kind of hinted at that the entire time, that he has an exit plan. I think his death, whether it be self-caused or whether it be as a result of something else he did, was always the intended plan because he was never going to give up the information. He was never going to allow them to get information from him.
Well, not only that, it seems even furthered in Clea's story of how he had just burned so many bridges too, even within the rebellion, that it was hard for her to make that step over, you know what I mean? And I liked that scene too between her and, what is it, Vel or whatever?
Val. Mm-hmm.
And, just kind of them finding their way, into this rebellion when they had been playing these roles on the outskirts, doing all these things, you know what I mean? That it had to be done, but obviously has left some scars for him,
Here's why I like Andor so much, James. All the rest of Star Wars, you have like this heavy focus on the Jedi and the Force being all these powers and everything else like that. And yes, you have
the Star Wars universe.
You have a rebellion. They're going against the evil empire and everything else like that. Andor decided to take the approach. What about every single other person in the fucking galaxy going through this?
Totally. Yep.
And it's like, we're going to stay away from all the mystical stuff because that's what the rest of Star Wars is, and we're going to focus on all this other stuff and how it affected regular people's lives, what was done by the Empire to reach this point and everything else like that. And it is done in such a well-executed way that is so scary because it's kind of what's going on, what we see in front of our eyes right now. And I'm sure there's certain peoples who have gone through similar situations in the history of their lives and everything else like that. Like the whole sacking of Gorman was based off a thing that took place in 1968 down in Mexico. So it's like we're not even that far removed from something like that even.
It goes back to the original Star Wars. George Lucas, always based parts of it because he was working on fucking Apocalypse Now before it wound up being Coppola took it back over. Apocalypse Now was going to be done by George Lucas and 3 other film crew in the jungle of Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
And then he spent a year studying fascism and fighting fascism. Then it all fell through, and then he wrote Star Wars. So, which is one of the reasons why you'll hear bring up every now and again that Princess Leia has those buns on her head, because he studied the Mexican women who were part of the Liberation Front used to do buns in their hair. Which is, a cool, interesting kind of sort of factoid. This backstory in this world that we live in of Star Wars is only as interesting as we make it. Okay? All the other Star Wars films are faster and more intense, and Andor is very much let's stop and sip tea and talk about it. Does that work in the Star Wars universe? As an outsider and as a hater, I would say not really. I think it works every now and again, but I would say I would have taken season 1 and 2 and done one season of 6 or 8 episodes all together with everything, and you would have had something amazing. But because we went with the Stranger Things of it, so many other streaming shows we see now that are just padded to shit. Well, and I get it. It's to keep us there watching.
I don't hate on your take that they could have been more condensed and we could have got a stronger, more compact story in one season. You're probably right on that. You know what I mean? That being said, I still enjoyed it. It was still for me, and I was fine with it, and I loved it. But yes, a lot of these shows, if they knew what they were ahead of time and planned it out better, they would be better suited.
Which is why, to me, season 2 of Andor is better than season 1, is because season 1, there was some more petty in season 1, which I'm still fine with because I enjoy the season. But season 2 was originally going to be 4 seasons of each one being 10 to 12 episodes. So each of the years that we went through, each was going to be its own season. So this is the condensed version of that. Could they cut more stuff out of it? Possibly, but they reduced 12 to 3, so I'm not going to complain too much about it.
And then they just do the weird thing where it's like, oh, we're going to release 3 episodes a week. It's like, well, why don't you just have one fucking episode that tells that story? Why have you broken it up into episodes? Like, the reason you break things up into episodes is to keep me watching every week. You know what I mean?
We did come back, and it might be a scheduling thing. Maybe they had too much coming out and they had to release 3. I don't know. It's hard to say, but it was also nice that...
Well, I'm glad they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have not been, Yeah, like I needed to see these 3 episodes at a time, otherwise I wouldn't have been satisfied by week by week.
Yeah, I can only look at the professor from a fucking Thor movie staring into the camera longingly for fucking 5 minutes without saying a word for so many episodes before I snap, you know? And I like that actor. He's really good, and he's good in this show, but there's just too much of the giving the actors their moment, which I know that's the whole point of this series, but it's like, oh my goodness. Yeah.
But compared to season 1, where it was one a week, and you didn't necessarily have a hook at the end of each episode per se to bring you back each week, it had to be good enough to get people to want to come back, and it was.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they could have sustained it through this season if they did it 1 episode per week.
No.
So I'm much happier that they did it the way they did it. And the thing about it not being a full movie per year is that if you have the breakups in it, now people can go take a break if they want to. So it's telling people you can go take a break and come right back to it in a few minutes later, and it's all good. But
everybody views shit differently now. So if you want to binge it, it's now all available. Go watch it. You know. So, yeah.
But for
I think that's what is your guys' favorite moments from these last 3 episodes? What were the moments that stuck out to you?
I absolutely loved Krennic drilling Dedra in the interrogation room. Ben Mendelsohn.
I think
Ben Mendelsohn just
Breaking her down.
Yeah, it was him putting his finger on her head and walking around her was one of the most threatening things. And then when he grabbed her face, I thought he was going to fucking snap her neck.
Yeah. I thought we were getting fucking Inglorious Bastards. I was like, oh shit, he's gonna kill you, bitch, run! Yeah, was my instant thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I even like the poker scene. I like the poker scene with the fucking tossing robot.
Mm-hmm.
Tossy the robot, fucking Alan Tudyk. Like, I like that scene. It was cute. It showed them playing with him, but still trying to get him to work out. So setting that up for when he enters a fight later was actually really nice. Where it was like, wow, you took some time and you established how these characters are interacting and how they work. And and it works really well with that tossing droid, you know. That scene was great.
Yep.
The scene on the bench had me sitting up the entire time, where it was like that entire scene, it was really well done. It was like 70s cinema, where it was like you felt that other guy, Skinny Ginger, Imperial Skinny Ginger, you really felt like just what he was going through with it. It was just great.
Thank you for not using the hard R.
Thank you. You're welcome.
It's his people. He can say that if he wants to.
He could, but I'm just saying I appreciate it.
Gingers are having the greatest week ever. Gingers are now black according to TikTok, which, being an American, if it's a social media post, I guess it's now legally fucking binding.
It is.
That's the dumb world we live in. I stopped myself before I got there, Boston. Sorry. There was a ton of episodes a ton of moments in these last 3 episodes that I was like, wow, this is really interesting. Not necessarily Star Wars. I did keep thinking in the back of my head, you know what this is really good for? The theme parks. Which is the kind of a shitty thought, but it's like...
How is it?
A bunch of running around the Imperial and doing stuff with the rebels. Like, this could be totally transferred money-wise into theme park attractions.
So, i.e. Rise of the Resistance, basically?
Yeah, basically, like, this is what this is what they're doing. And so it's like, I don't know, there might be rewards financially past just the people who watch this.
I have a feeling that in both Southern California and Florida, they got their pickings on guys that look like Andor.
I'm sure.
They can bring in.
I'm sure. For now.
Yeah. For now.
Ice coming through Disneyland, arresting them.
I loved the scene of K2SO grabbing dude and using him as the meat shield. That was great. I love a droid going ham in fucking Star Wars ever since Knights of the Old Republic games. So that was really fun. Again, like just that whole, the whole Luthen with Clea, that whole first episode, I just really dug getting more of his backstory and where her and him come from, and just kind of the whole sacrifices that they both made. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just, you know, she took up that mantle. She realized that she needed to finish this job for him, and regardless of what needed to be done. So there was so much. There was so much in this.
Her, like they lay it all out. You know, that's like there's a reason. There's a reason each one of these characters did what they did. Yeah. And the rewarding part in the final couple episodes is you kind of see everybody get what they deserve.
Yeah,
both bad and good. Like just because you're doing the right thing doesn't mean you're going to be rewarded. You could do the right thing your whole life, and you're still going to have to stab yourself in the fucking stomach and die on a hospital bed. Mm-hmm. You know, it's but it was nothing in that regard felt forced.
No.
It felt like it felt very real and very lived in. But it was also at a certain point, I was kind of like, yeah, we know you're talking about the Death Star. Oh, and by the way, motherfuckers, it's Yavin 4. And you can suck my balls until I'm dead. It's Yavin 4. So I destroyed a fucking Trivial Pursuit game over this, and I will destroy your fucking show over this. So you didn't go to Yavin. Yavin is a planet we've actually never seen. The Rebel base is on Yavin 4.
We've seen it. We've never been on it because it's a gas planet.
Sure. Just like we've never been to Endor. We've been to the forest moon of Endor, which is not Endor. Endor is a planet we never fucking saw. Now you can pay attention to the movie.
It's also not the name of this show, by the way, James. it's Andor, but that's okay.
Whatever. No, Christy knows what I'm talking about.
Yep.
The Trivial Pursuit game.
No, I know what you're talking about too, but I'm just talking about how
I know.
For 2 seasons, you called it Andor.
It was the Star Wars Trivial Pursuit as well.
It was Star Wars Trivial Pursuit, and it had it was like, what was the Rebel base on? And it said Yavin, and I lost my shit because I was like, as a geeky dumb kid, I was like, Yavin 4. Wow, I wonder what Yavin 1, 2, and 3 look like, or what Yavin Prime looks like. But certainly, it's Yavin 4 for a reason. They didn't just name it that for no reason. It's something else. They didn't call it the forest moon of Endor because it was its own planet. Like, no. There's another planet we don't see, motherfuckers, and acting like it is a planet.
If you remember, they were waiting for the planet to get out of the way, so that they could shoot that.
They were trying to orbit the planet to get shoot it at that. Which I forget who did it, but they made the point. It's like, dude, the amount of debris that comes off a planet when it's destroyed would have destroyed Yavin 4, so why didn't you just shoot Yavin itself? But whatever. That's a different movie and a different set of logic. Other things that I enjoyed from this, I enjoyed the conversation between Luthen and Dedra. The whole double meaning speak throughout the entire first part of that conversation was wonderful. I liked the montage at the end.
I did too. It was cutting back and forth. Seeing where our characters landed was it didn't overstay its welcome. Yep. It was really nice. It was simple, and you got it. And it's not everybody got a happy ending. Nobody gets a happy ending in Star Wars universe, but it's like it wasn't bad.
Well,
yeah.
B2EMO got a happy ending. He got a droid to play with, and I would argue that Bix got a happy ending. Even though it's one of the more depressing things, because you know what the other end of that is.
Right.
Yeah.
But still, I think for what she went through for this entire fucking series, she got a happy ending. So, but
Yeah.
it was one of the nicer shots to end on. Much better than the Last Jedi. We're going to focus on a child at the end of that episode because anybody can be a Jedi. No, we're going to focus on a child for a completely different reason because something came out of this that's going to move forward. That we can or can't explore if we want to in the future, but it absolutely is not necessary to focus on that child going further anymore. We just know that a child came out of all this. And for those of us who had seen Rogue One, we know what the end result is.
Right.
My argument to the whole, we got to talk about the Death Star, we got to have this argument and everything like that is, from the context of the show and the context of knowledge and information and everything else like that, it makes sense that they would have those conversations. Yes, to people like us who started on the other end of that, who know about the end results, who saw Rogue One and know about the information there and everything else like that, yes, it's a lot of we know, get on with it type feeling, but for the context of the show, it was important that they didn't just skip over that in the event that, especially for the future, if somebody starts here, it creates that logic gap onto how they have what Andor's doing when he first shows up in Rogue One.
Yeah, I'm not against. I hate prequels, but I'm not necessarily against them if you write it well.
Mm-hmm.
I think, but with the problem with the prequel, it's hard to write it well because you're kind of painted into a corner.
Right, you already know.
When we go to prequels, I always point out Psycho 4, which I still think is probably one of the most successful prequels because it was a prequel sequel. It was like, we will give you the prequel. There's also everything that happened at the very end of Norman Bates' life is going to be here too.
Yeah.
And so I really, writing-wise, that was just amazing. I think the problem with this is like, Andor is very well written. It's very well shot. It's very well acted. Every time we got into a scene of they're planning a weapon, but I just can't tell you, I was rolling my eyes with how dumb we were getting. You know, it's like very much of if I was like Jack the Ripper Origins, there's somebody doing something really bad to women, but I won't tell you till episode 8. Well, I think we already know because it's based on Jack the Ripper. You know, it's like at a certain point that tension doesn't exist. It only exists because you think it does, but we already know the end game, so there was never any tension to begin with. I know what he's talking about on the bench. It was a great scene, but I wanted them to get to it, you know? Where it's like, yeah.
It's a problem with anything that you know from other media, that you know what's going to happen, but from the character's point of view, you can't just say in my head, we should just know this. You should just know this information. The characters don't know shit except what they find out gradually.
Episode needs to take into account the audience. And if you don't take into account the audience, then you're going to have a hard time selling it. Like, yeah. Anyway,
I think it took into account the audience, but had to also take into account this is what the characters are. This is the information they found out. This is how they found out about it. Because even Star Wars, like, how the fuck do you not know there's this moon-sized weapon?
All I want to know is, are we going to get the story about how the Bothans got the second Death Star plan?
I'm fine with that if Tony Gilroy wants to write that.
Because many Bothans died trying to get those plans.
Hey, if we get that, I am all for it.
And I want to see what a Bothan looks like.
Mm-hmm.
I think they look like blue werewolves or something, right?
No, the werewolves are a different race.
I think they look like blue werewolves or something, though. I'm looking it up right now.
Blue meanies?
I want to see what a Bothan looks like. What is a Bothan?
The blue meanies from
Bothan Star Wars.
But hey, if we get that story too, great. I'm all for it.
Look at they look like they look like Splinter.
Yes, they do.
They look like a big rat. Kinda.
How pleasant.
Yeah, bring it on.
Look at this guy. He's a cool looking. Look at
Tony Gilroy. Write that shit.
He's cool. Get
Put
on
it out.
We want to hear about those Bothans.
Foxes.
Did I say what?
It's not the crystal foxes that look cool.
No.
They look cool. They definitely look cool. All right, let's rate this thing. Are we?
This is out of 4.
4? This is
out of 4. Yep.
this
James.
is out of 4. James.
It all falls on you.
I can go first because I'll be probably the lowest. I'll be the hater on this. I'm gonna give this. It's 4. I'm gonna give this 2. There's solid shit in this that you should really see. You should also be ready with that fast forward button. But this isn't the best thing I've watched in a while. But there was moments in these episodes, this whole, and when we say this, the second season, there was great stuff in this, but there was also, yeah. So I'll be the I'll say 2 out of 4.
2 out of 4.
2 out
All
of
right.
4. All right.
Matt?
Yeah, I'm going 4. 'Cause, this is one of the best things that's been on TV. Yeah. It's well written. It's well paced for what it's supposed to be. All the actors are great. All the characters are great. I cared about the story the entire way through. Even though I know at the end of episode 11 that, well, Andor and Melshi are getting out of this, regardless. So I still had some concern about Clay. I was like, was Clay going to make it out?
You're only getting out of it for like a couple of weeks afterwards.
Yeah.
Not even a week. I don't think it's even a week from the time
A week, all right.
that happens. And yeah, because everybody instantaneously travels across space. That takes no time whatsoever. That's what Star Wars is basically saying. Yeah, because Rogue One takes place over the course of 3 days.
Matt, what was your thing?
4 out of 4.
If you were on a planet that was about to blow up, would you try to masturbate?
Oh, definitely.
If you knew it was about to blow up, yes. Rogue One, nobody knew that was going to happen.
You answered yes pretty fast on that. I like that. I respect that. I respect how fast he answered yes. Because yes, I think I might too.
Yeah, it's the fucking The Stand. If you've read The Stand, that guy who goes and jerks off at home plate in Met Stadium.
What if the planet's about to blow up and you're like, I'm going to try to jerk off, and you like get there like fast and it's the best jerk off you ever had? Oh,
We?
no, we just went.
Did we? I'm surprised.
An award for best review show. Like, this is
Hey.
amazing. Keep going. Yeah,
Oh no! I know where you're going with this, Jared. And yes, I don't care that the world doesn't end.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, but if it didn't end, and then you had the best orgasm that you ever had jerking off, you'd just spend the rest of your life trying to find
Chasing
a planet.
that high?
Yeah, chasing
Great.
that.
Let's go.
Planet's about to blow up dragon.
There's no lose. There's no lose. You had the best orgasm of your life. You're done. Like, you're good. Like, your life would be trying to achieve that again.
Yeah,
So,
but I think that's how people start doing the thing where they choke themselves. I must have that.
No, that's how you start the H word.
I guess so. I am also going to give this a 4. For the little things that I have problems, I love this show. Again, this is for me, and I just hope that they don't. I hope they don't abandon this this type of Star Wars storytelling. You know what I mean? I do. I want to hear more of the spy, the political intrigue stuff. Like, find me another story you can tell like this in the Star Wars universe. Because it's a universe. It's a Star Wars universe. I think that there's plenty of room for everything that everyone likes. Whether it's going to be your Goonies fucking Star Wars show, whether it's going to be your, the Andor style one, or whether it's going to be your, tried and true Star Wars style stories. Tell them all. Give them all to us, because there's the audience for it all, I think. So.
Hey, which is why I like Visions, the series Visions. The one where you gave animators to do what they want. Here's Star Wars. What's your idea on what Star Wars is? Great. Some of them are crap, some of them are great. But you know what? That's how it should be.
Yeah, it's all in the writing. We always joke, Shawshank Redemption's 2 guys in prison.
Yep.
That's the plot. 2 guys in prison. 2 guys in. That's it. That's the entire plot. But nobody would ever describe that movie that way, you know. And so there's a right way to write anything.
And then
My 2 out of 4, and I know I'm the low one on this, but it's I would have never watched this show had not been for this.
what?
And there is great fucking moments in this. There really are. Like, and so it's almost like a begrudging too, because I entered this watching it to give it a 0. I entered it going like, I don't need a prequel to a prequel. Whoever Andor, fucking Casa Bonita is, fucking, I didn't need to know. And I didn't care to know. But he's not a bad actor. He's kind of like a Pedro Pascal wish, but he's not bad. And like, there's so many scenes and moments in this I'm probably going to be thinking about for a long time that were just solid and knocked it out of the park.
Yep, I agree.
Alrighty.
All right, well, shall we talk about some trailers? What's
Up first?
What's up first?
What you guys think?
Let's start with Ironheart. That we start.
Yeah, let's
towards
start
the
with
bottom
Ironheart.
and move up from there.
It's up in your, well,
Okay.
this side.
Great.
Raise your left hand.
Like this?
Yeah.
Throw your hands in the air and wave them like you just don't care? Is
Yeah,
that what you said?
exactly.
All right.
It's right above Jared's head.
Okay.
Ironheart. Hey, Marvel.
Hey.
I know you announced this a while back. You had the opportunity to say we're not actually doing this anymore, but you went ahead with it. And to an extent, I respect you for that, for sticking with the guns and everything else like that. But this trailer, I don't know. I don't see anything in this trailer that justifies this existing.
Han Solo.
Sure, Han Solo.
Han Solo's in this trailer.
Great. Good for Han Solo. I mean, I don't say. Again, it's that Black Panther 2 was obviously a lesser movie than Black Panther for a lot of reasons, and the unfortunate big one being the death of Chadwick Boseman. I can't fault them for that. They did the best what they could for a project they were already going to be working on, and they knew what to do. Ryan Coogler did what he could. It was just a lesser movie than Black Panther was. The character, I can't remember her name, or the character's name right now. Who's Ironheart? What's her actual name?
Riri Williams.
Riri Williams. Thank you. No, we can't see him. Riri Williams, as a character in Marvel, works fine for what they've done with her in the comics, but I don't see her fitting into the overall Marvel MCU right now, because they're still kind of focusing on that. It just seems weird that they had this opportunity many years ago to try to do separate stories that took themselves out of the MCU, but every time you get through them, you realize, oh, nope, it's just part of the MCU. So I don't, right now, with the trailer and everything else out, I'm like, I don't know. We'll end up watching it, but I don't know right now that it's showing me anything that I care about.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I've seen Iron Man's story. You know what I mean? I'm not. It's Iron Man with a girl. You know what I mean? And that's cool. But I guess they need her for the new Avengers, or for the young Avengers.
yeah.
It's the same reason why I hated Miles Morales and I still do. And I'm winning over on Miles Morales, but it is not diversity to say it's just Peter Parker, but he's black. Like, that's not good writing. That is not smart writing. That is just lazy forced diversity rather than actually creating characters that are actually diverse, which should be your fucking goal. Not, we're just going to take something we take the pudding you already like, and we're just going to dress up that pudding differently. And it's for me, that's always the laziest.
At least in the comics, Riri Williams has a connection with Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Sure. And that's where she came from. But because now you're doing the MCU and Tony Stark's dead, that connection isn't there, so now you have to re-justify why this character is important. Sure. Black Panther 2 didn't do a very good job of that, So now you have a series based, including a character that you had in a movie that you really didn't do well establishing fully why she was in that movie, and trying to give her own series. Which there's an end game to this apparently, but the means doesn't. Means right now isn't visible.
What?
Right.
What happened?
Nothing.
Oh,
Okay, great.
The one thing that has me interested is the Hood
Okay.
character
Yeah.
and the Mephisto of it all. You know what I mean? Like, we're finally going to get Mephisto in this, and we're going to get a...
The kid with the balloon waiting outside the back door of Mephisto for a while.
we have.
You've been like, come on, Marvel, just no.
But this is...
Mephisto, Marvel.
This is supposed to be a big part of this story is, you know, and I want to get into that in the Marvel Universe because we haven't really gotten into the devil of it all. And, you know, we got a little bit with Dormammu. I guess we got a little bit with maybe some Moon Knight stuff. But that's what interests me the most. The magic stuff.
Thor Love and Thunder introduced heaven. Like, it was like, oh, I guess you just don't die.
Yeah, well,
Don't worry.
they introduced the afterlife.
Right, but that's what's interesting to me is that it doesn't seem like it's going to be her versus another suit person. It's going to be her dealing with a different, magical, mystical shit. You know what I mean? Tech versus the mystical stuff. That interests me. If they can do something good with that storyline, then you can get me. You know what I mean? But if it's going to be more of the same Iron Man shit, then I'll be bored.
The best Iron Man comics was Tech versus Magic. It was always Tech versus Magic was like some of the more interesting shit they did.
Yeah.
In the Iron
When he was Mandarin and shit.
Yeah.
fighting the Mandarin.
Yeah.
So if they go down that road, it could be interesting. We'll see.
We'll find out in about just over a month.
Is it a month?
June 24th.
Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah, no, they moved it up from August because originally they cut out it for August, and now it's June 24th. So.
Well, I guess we got something coming up now.
Yes, we do. Right after Last of Us ends.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about the...
Let's talk about Superman now, because we were going to... So, gentle viewer, if you're not up in the world of trailers, Peacemaker dropped sometime over the week, right before the weekend. And if you've seen the Peacemaker trailer, like, oh, that's interesting. That's how they're going to kind of weave this in. And then the Superman trailer decided to drop itself on the world on Tuesday.
Wednesday.
But because of the actual connection between the two of them now, I say we talk about Superman first.
Okay.
So, because
It's on.
it's on. All right. And then it's more because of the question of where are we going from here, because Superman releases before Peacemaker.
Right.
So, Superman. Hi, Superman. Real Superman. Real comic accurate Superman. The one we like and enjoy. Who is a bastion for...
I'll say this right now. I don't like the S.
Whatever.
Sorry.
You would find the most minute thing to...
Of course you
bitch
don't,
about.
James. Of course you don't. Of course.
I can't like this fully. I gotta find something to hate. Fuck that S.
Fuck that S. The Superman S is a tricky one, and I've always said just do an S. God damn it, you don't need to go interesting Zack Snyder, just do an S. And they still aren't doing an S, and I don't like the S on the Superman.
Just wait.
Having said that, just like the Fantastic Four trailer, this trailer is amazing. However, gentle viewer, I gave up my hope on trailers after Batman v Superman. Batman v Superman is the cross trailer, it's the Jesus trailer I was nailed to, where it's that trailer is amazing, and I could probably teach a class on that trailer. That movie is almost unwatchably bad, comically bad. Like, it is so bad, it's Howard the Duck level bad. So after that, trailers did not have the impact. It was, many people were destroyed by the Phantom Menace trailer because the Star Wars Phantom Menace trailer was amazing, and then they went and saw the movie, and it wasn't as good as that trailer. And for me, it was Batman v Superman, so I just don't care about trailers anymore. Having said that, the Superman trailer is amazing. Is really it's like watching like the Fantastic Four trailer. It's like watching a Superman comic book come to life.
Yeah,
we talked about this with the teaser. The teaser's like, okay, that's interesting. I'm interested in everything like that. Okay, there's a few things because the teaser trailer was the Superman down. He's hurt. He's with the dog, but he's hurt and everything else like that. But we still said at that time, we'll see how Superman himself actually is overall for the rest of it. And this trailer, with that one interview, showed very well that this Superman was what we like about Superman. He is a person who is just trying to do good. He's trying to help people on this planet that isn't his, and he's trying to live up to the values that he was taught by his parents.
Yeah,
and him being the most powerful person in this world is trying to do right by himself, by him being there, which is what Superman, when they finally got around to that part of his story in the comics and that, was what Superman was. So.
yeah.
I loved this trailer. The one thing that maybe put me off was how cocky he was in that interview at the very beginning. He was very defensive, and I kind of, by the end of it, like, I got it, but he comes off a little more cocky than stoic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is not unheard of in the comics.
Yeah. He's also dealing with Lois that constantly is pushing his buttons.
Right.
Like, so I was like, I believe in the James Gunn, and I believe in the people that made this, that they're trying to take the characters very seriously. If Lois was really pushing Clark Kent's buttons, Kal-El would get fucking defensive. Would be like, you know what? I'm not okay with all these questions. And the real Lois Lane would be asking real fucking questions. Not softball fucking questions. So it's like, I don't know. Even though those scenes were kind of hokey and a little bit, they were better than any of Zack Snyder's Superman shit. And so it's like, yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Where it's like,
I mean,
just feel more.
It popped like a comic book. Everything in it looked so comic accurate. The action scenes, I mean, it looks like there's a lot of action in this.
Oh yeah.
Which is going to be, it's going to be great. You know what I mean? That being said, I'm hoping upon hope that it is as good as this trailer makes me feel, because I have been tricked before, and and Superman is by far my favorite superhero, and I really, really want them to do this right, because I really want to see the DCU be successful, because so many of those characters deserve so much better than what we've gotten. So,
fucking, I will yell at everybody in the face until we get a good Swamp Thing movie. Like, DC not only owns 50% of the best comic book stories of all time, some would argue the best comic book stories of all time. The most successful of the run might be Swamp Thing. It won tons of awards. It's regarded by geeks, young and old, as being one of the most important ones. What Swamp Thing can we point to in the media for profit that we can look at that's been done, given it justice?
Well, the Swamp Thing series that they did one season of was actually pretty fucking good, and then they canceled it.
That's Warner Bros. For
the guy who the showrunner for that was a horror director who very much wanted to focus on the not Alan Moore run, but the horror fucking Swamp Thing early comics, which is fine. But I still think the Alan Moore run a Swamp Thing. That movie should have been made day one. And we still haven't gotten that movie, and I don't know why.
Alan Moore will hate it.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Is it weird being a geek of a certain age that when you hear John Williams' Superman theme, no matter what, you pay attention?
No.
It makes you swell with pride.
Mm-hmm.
Like that term right there is exactly what happens when that song comes on.
Young geeks understand, us elder geeks, when we hear instantly sit up and shut up. It's like if you in 20 or 30 years have an old folks home and you need to get your seniors in 30 years to pay attention, play John Williams' fucking Superman theme, and we will all sit down, shut up, and fucking pay attention, because every time it plays is exactly right. And this trailer used it very well.
I think both trailers use it very well because it doesn't immediately start out with it.
Yeah.
It gives you something about the character of Superman that by the time the music starts, the music is earned for the rest of that trailer.
Yep.
And while yes, what's that?
Crypto.
And Crypto.
Yes, no, and Crypto.
The
Crypto.
first one is just two.
And while yes, I will say that yes, it seems he's a little hokey and everything else like that in terms of when he's talking to Lois at the very beginning of the interview. He's a fucking farm boy. and he's going into it thinking, oh yeah, you can ask Superman questions, whatever. I'm fine with that. I think you're a great writer and everything like that. I'm not worried about the questions you're going to ask me, because in his mind, she's not going to ask him the questions she's actually ends up asking him.
Yeah, but he should know that.
It's so
That's another.
very
Defensive.
Yeah.
Also, Pa Kent. Pa Kent gets great lines right off the bat. You know what I mean?
And he's alive, which I'm not upset about.
Well, he's alive
for that show.
in this movie for part of it, at least.
but I'm not upset that he's not dead by the
No,
time we
yeah.
are in current day.
Well, let's hope that a tornado doesn't kill him in this one.
You all say they're the most dangerous place ever. I'm going to run right at this tornado
Yeah.
for no fucking reason.
BT as you said that, he was getting stuff running.
He was so there.
Go ahead, James.
I've always wondered, because Superman being an alien, why nobody ever took more of the autistic approach with writing and portraying the character of somebody who doesn't feel at home in this universe. Which is an important. Which All-Star Superman, I think, was the most successful that I can think of at kind of cornering in on that. And so we'll
Showing him more.
But after this trailer, with the monsters, with the endless amount of superheroes, with the robot battling Superman, which I'm going to go ahead and spoil a reveal. I have no proof of this. That is Lex Luthor's robot costume from the 1980s. It even had I'm sorry, Geeky Geeks, go back and look at the colors.
Mm-hmm.
That is clearly Lex Luthor in a robot suit fighting Superman, and that'll probably be a mid movie reveal. But yeah, that robot is not a character. That is just Lex Luthor in his suit. That is my prediction. My other thoughts: all the monsters, all the superheroes that we see in this, it looks like a comic. It looks like it has the fun that the Zack Snyderverse did not have. It looks like it has everything that we've been kind of complaining that we don't see in comic book movies.
Yeah.
Just like the Fantastic Four trailer. So, yeah, this trailer's great. However, I don't give a shit about trailers anymore. Show me your movie.
That's fine.
Yeah.
You got less than 2 months. You got less than 2 months for that. But I do want to bring up yes.
He split the seed. What's that part?
He split the what?
He split the seed. Like fucking Moses.
Split the sea.
Split the sea?
Oh.
Yes, he split the seed.
Is that him splitting the sea, or is that something else splitting the sea?
We don't know.
It's like kryptonite almost. So
They can't hear you.
I could say it's Lex Luthor.
Well,
Maybe.
the rumor was that Brainiac was supposed to be somehow involved in this movie, but I haven't seen anything to suggest that he's actually in it yet.
Okay, well,
So-
here, let me.
About Jesus.
that's a good thing.
He's the seed.
You brought that up because I want to say I want to tell two of my potential two of my predictions. Okay. One is the Brainiac one, but I think that one's loose. I think there's potential that you have Brainiac where he's like convincing Lex to a lot of this stuff, because there is the storyline where Lex is kind of taken over by Brainiac and blah blah blah. So I think that's a possibility that it might be Brainiac is the big bad the whole time. But I do think that the Ultraman thing is a red herring. I don't think that's Ultraman. I think that is Bizarro, because everyone's saying that it's a clone of Superman. But if Lex is trying to clone Superman the first time, it's got to be Bizarro. You can't get it right the first time.
That's comic. Yeah, that was a run in the comics. The Bizarro was a failed clone
yeah.
Superman. Yeah.
So I think that that's not Ultraman. I think that that's going to be Bizarro, and I think that it's reason why we're not seeing any face ever is because it's the same guy, whatever his name is.
That's fine.
Huh?
Staying in the metal suit.
No, not the metal suit guy. No, that's.
I really think, honestly,
Metallo?
Superman versus Bizarro Superman would be kind of what the DC universe needs right now. Like, not to be that guy about it, but it definitely feels like if you could get a scene where Superman's fighting Bizarro Superman, that might actually be really fucking amazing. So,
I think so too.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Bizarro Superman.
The other thing I enjoy about this is that the other characters that you see now have basically based on this trailer and based on Peacemaker, we're going to talk about in a minute here, is kind of confirmed to be the Justice League Unlimited, which is the for-hire Justice League.
International,
which is the for-hire Justice League.
Right there.
And we can't see shit. but
Sorry.
but that is what the conflict is that they were hired in to go take care of this war, and then Superman came along and took care of it himself.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we'll talk about it with Peacemaker in a second, with the whole Suicide Squad thing. But yeah, so that's what these characters are. It's not so much that they're per se antagonistic against Superman. They're doing it because they're getting paid to do it, and that's their high profile and their notoriety and everything else like that. They're against this guy who they know is probably stronger than them, but him going around and doing these things that they're doing to get paid to do. So
yeah,
he's basically taking their money without actually taking their money.
That's like Black Adam. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was different.
More like Black Adam.
So let's move on to the Peacemaker then.
Hold on.
But I do want to say one thing for you, James. Hey, and who plays Hot Girl?
Yeah.
The same girl who plays Dina in Last of Us. That is our connection.
Yep.
I saw that.
Same girl.
That is
that
our
plays
connection
Dina.
today.
All right. Hippies, hawk man, and hot girl. I'm sick of those hippies.
So the Peacemaker, this one came out of nowhere. I didn't expect this to come
I was
to
going to
show
at
up.
some point because I knew the season was coming out in August. But it didn't give a hint that they were dropping it. And the fact that it dropped for Superman seems interesting.
James Gunn has been passionate about Peacemaker. He's very much for it, yeah.
No, but the fact that it came out before the Superman trailer ends up being interesting because of the very first part of this trailer.
Right.
Being that Peacemaker's called in at an interview for Justice League International.
Yep.
Yeah, we get to see, and it looks like this is probably before Superman.
I don't know. And that's the weird thing is I don't honestly know.
Well, because the rumors is that they're going to get new costumes at the end.
Okay.
So, but they're in the costumes that we see them in the trailer.
Right.
So that's why everyone seems to think that this or at least that scene takes place before the Superman movie. But we got Peacemaker trying to, trying to join, like you say, Justice League International.
Got Nathan Fillion on set for a day. I'm pretty sure that James Gunn just brought them over to another studio to shoot them.
Probably.
'Cause you got-
It was filmed individually on Zoom meetings with green background. Like, yeah. As easy as possible.
no! I'm sure those three were there that day because one of them's his brother.
That's true.
Yeah.
Which means we haven't seen Sean Gunn in the trailer for Superman because I'm pretty sure he's going to be in it as Maxwell Lord there as well.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
and he's going to show up as the one leading the group of International coming out and everything. So
funding it likely.
But yeah, so you got this going on. So it's a debate now as to whether or not it takes place before or after Superman. Since the show goes on after Superman.
Don't forget the whole group is back.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like that it's keeping the same vein that it had in the first one. I did really love the joke about the girl having toxic
masculinity.
That was great.
And you got another interdimensional storyline going on with with them doors, with them Monsters Inc. doors.
Yeah, exactly. Monsters Inc. door took them to alternate universe Peacemaker. And as always, I'm obligated to point out Steve Agee was well focused in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Who's like in the improv scene? Steve Agee, he's the heavyset guy with the beard that helps out Peacemaker with all his stuff. Is actually one of the nicest humans in comedy. So it's always nice to see him working because he's actually a decent human. So that's nice. Steve Agee's in there, and then we got to see Eagly.
Eagly's back?
Yeah, he's back. We got to have Eagly. And then we got to see Peacemaker meet Peacemaker from, a Monsters Inc. door dimension. What do you think of Peacemaker? I think that's the way to go. I think Monsters Inc. is the way to go with that, yeah.
If you're going to keep Peacemaker in your universe, bring in some other universes. Why not?
Yeah.
But the other important thing you have is what James Gunn spoke about at the beginning, where we have Creature Commandos, and now we're going to start bringing these characters into the rest of the shows and like that. And because this trailer dropped first, what we thought was going to be the first appearance of Rick Flag Sr. in the DCU. Now, because Superman trailer drops, going to be the second appearance of Rick Flag Sr. in live action, because they showed the clip of him and referred to him as the Secretary of Defense, I guess, in Superman. So that's another thing, is like, when does Peacemaker take place if Rick Flag's still running his operation, but now in Superman he's the Secretary of Defense?
Yeah, so it must take place beforehand.
Yeah.
Because unless he gets demoted.
Which is possible. It's going to show up after. I mean...
That is possible. I think that's a good story, though. He's getting chased down because he killed his son. You know what I mean? Like, he obviously has had problems with that too.
Enjoy the good time of watching it. Yes.
And I'm sorry, did James Gunn write Tim Meadows' lines, or did he say Tim Meadows just start talking to those characters?
Titties.
He did 54 seasons on Saturday Night Live. He can do whatever he wants.
Oh, no, I know. I'm fine with it. It's just that, dear God. Thank you, Tim Meadows.
When he said titties, I fucking died. I died laughing. I was like, oh my God.
Did you ever see him on the 1908 season of SNL? He was really good in the 1908 episode. Like, he was great.
Yeah, off in the wings, you saw people with torches waiting for him to get off stage.
Right.
It was a different time and place, people. Okay, read your history books. All right, I can't help it.
There's no history books anymore, James. Remember, our president got rid of them.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really glad that Peacemaker survived and is moving on. That first season is one of the best seasons of television. Just it's fucking great. We did not deserve it, but we got it, and I'm glad that went through.
It's pure
Glad
James Gunn irreverence.
like when I read Vigilante comics in the 80s, I really saw him as like a Punisher type. And then it was interesting to watch it where they just made him an obnoxious sidekick type, where it was like, I never saw the character as that, but it was the character and work as that. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with all the other Peacemaker sort of characters.
Yeah, I mean, in the Suicide Squad movie, I remember leading up to it, people talking about, oh, he's going to be Peacemaker. Oh, he's going to be just kind of like an asshole Captain America. And, in that movie, he's fucking fantastic, obviously. And he's got a lot of layers to him. And the fact that they were able to still have fun with that character and lay that out, and, that watching this trailer makes me want to go back and watch Peacemaker Season 1 again, just because I remember the roller coaster that was. That character seemed to be so two-dimensional, on paper, which is funny to say, but like they brought it out. They brought it all out.
Yeah, that I can give a compliment is nobody wants Peacemaker to succeed but Peacemaker.
Right.
It's Charlie Brown with superpowers, where it's kind of like, and that's kind of interesting in the comic book world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like where it's like he is like nobody wants Peacemaker to succeed but Peacemaker, and so in watching it, we're kind of like seeing how will he succeed.
It's almost like a vulgar Inspector Gadget.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
and then we got a reveal of alternate Peacemaker.
Yeah,
which seems to far more comic book accurate, but it is what it is. Like it's, I think the costume from season 1 is very like. I don't think I saw some people talking online. They're like, oh, they're going comic book accurate. Season 1's pretty fucking accurate, guys. Like we don't need to. We really need to be down to the very nicks and grooves in a helmet.
Oh,
because
Also, it was written by James Gunn, and James Gunn so far has shown that he knows comics pretty well.
Yeah.
So
he changes it all the time. That is comfortable for him, but he's made it work enough that none of us will call him out.
Yeah.
It's Yondu never needed to be a magical space Native American.
No.
Like that would be embarrassing for everybody.
Yeah.
Turning him into a hillbilly abusive stepdad was not something I had on my bingo card. But it's something you wind up making work very well. So I think a lot of us are open to James Gunn changes. Like, okay, what are you going to change with it? But is it going to work? And in the end of the day, it'll work or it won't.
I guess that's got to be our poll now. Who is Michael Rooker playing in Superman and Peacemaker this season?
True. Yeah. Or is it's a different universe? Do they just have him play the same guy? Maybe he's not dead.
He gets killed. It's not a different universe. It's the same universe because Peacemaker got carried over.
Maybe, but at the very end of that trailer, might not be the same Peacemaker.
Maybe.
He might go and kill the other Peacemaker and come into our universe.
Then we're gonna bring in Last of Us.
Then they're gonna. Yeah.
I want him to show up as Condiment King.
Condiment King. That would be great.
Michael Rooker as Condiment King is peak to me.
There you go.
And if we do that, then Last of Us needs to introduce Plants vs. Zombies.
Plants vs. Zombies, there you go.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Mushroom zombies are already plant zombies, so I think there's a crossover here we're just not seeing, yet. Like,
hey, in Plants vs. Zombies, though, they do have mushrooms at night.
They have mushrooms at night.
But they're good guys.
Yeah.
But they're good guys. They're versus the zombies.
You gotta get the sunbeams, man. Yeah.
I don't care that both the movie and the show has already been shot. Petition Michael Rooker to be Condiment King.
Oh, forgot.
All right, let's get out of here, guys. We will be back next week. We will be done with Andor. We will be just doing one show.
Just The Last of Us.
Just The Last of Us next
Unless
week.
somebody wants to drop a crazy trailer again.
Yeah, who knows? We something could come up.
I don't know what else there could be right now, but
I'm
yeah.
sure there'll be something. I could talk about Oblivion.
You could talk about it.
Talk about me living in Tamriel for the last little while. So make sure that you like, subscribe, follow, and all that jazz.
There somewhere.
Somewhere over there. Until next week, I'm Smoking Phat J.
Hi, Matt Christy.
I'm James Cope.
We'll see you guys then. Peace.
Bye.